let's start off tonight with an XY of Z's posts. So we'll throw up the graphics up there.
Every tweet, every thread, he's taking a heat. Tax on the case in a digital race. The X, Y, and Z's post, he's setting updates.
I posted something in response to a hot topic, something that has, man, really, it's very alarming. It's quite a deal, and that is what happened this past Sunday. The post is I posted on the 19th. Don Lemon is a demon! ! That's the post. So what's the context here? Let me read just a little summary in case you have no idea. There was a recent controversy. So Don Lemon used to be on CNN, was a high-profile anchor, kind of their primetime slot. He, now an independent journalist, covered an anti-ICE protest. Again, this is all happening in Minnesota. If you've seen the news, you're aware of this. But what makes this unique is that there was a group of people that went to a church. They interrupted an active, in-progress church service. The name of the church is Cities Church. It's in St. Paul, Minnesota. Again, this happened on Sunday. Don Lemon was there with his film crew. Now, he says it was organic. That's nonsense. He was there early. There's video of him with Starbucks coffee and donuts for the protesters. The protest was organized by local activists, this kind of radical justice network. They stormed the evangelical church mid-service. By the way, it's a Southern Baptist church. Mid-service, they were accusing, so this is why they targeted the church. They were accusing one of its pastors of secretly working with ICE to facilitate immigration raids and deportations. They're basically accusing one of the church leadership of being an ICE agent. They interrupted the worship. They shouted at congregants. You can actually see the live stream of the church.
It's crazy.
It is crazy. They're demanding publicly the pastor's resignation. By the way, I don't know if you've seen the video of him being interviewed by Don Lemon mid-service. I thought he handled himself very well. Kudos to that guy. Don Lemon claimed that his ties to ICE contradicted Christian values. Don Lemon, by the way, is a practicing homosexual. The incident's live stream, it sparked widespread outrage. Lemon, who was present filming the event, has been accused by critics, Trump administration, of not just reporting on the protests, but actively embedding with the agitators. You continue on. This is the part I wanted to get to. In a subsequent podcast, Don Lemon, trying to justify his actions, suggested that the church goers were exhibit entitlement, and their entitlement was rooted in white supremacy. He accused them of being homophobic, though no evidence of homophobia was tied to the church. Also, there were other celebrities that criticized him. There's been a DOJ investigation opened into Don Lemon and the people that were involved with this, ironically citing a piece of legislation that was related to the KKK. Don Lemon is black, so there is a measure of irony. It was called the Ku Klux Klan Act, which prohibits conspiracies to intimidate or terrorize based on civil rights. This was a DOJ investigation into the protesters vowing charges for what they deemed as a raid on a place of worship. Before I even get to the topic tonight, out of curiosity, how would we have handled that? Like if this had happened at Calvary 316 this past Sunday, like how would that have gone down? I've thought about this. I have a few thoughts. I just kind of want you guys, you've not been asked this. We've not even talked about this. You're unfiltered. Like, be careful of how we handle this. But like, how would that have gone down?
I guess, I'd be surprised that they found our little church.
Dude, okay, you say that. City's church is smaller than us.
Are they?
Oh, it's a small church. Been around for about 10 years. You look at the live stream, there's
It's
like
not packed
20
out.
people there at the most. And it was, honestly, it was old men, young women, children. Like there were no like middle-aged men around.
I would. It depends on what Sunday. If it was a potluck Sunday,
Let's just say if it was this past Sunday.
upcoming Sunday,
This past Sunday.
I would very nicely.
I know
and-
you're going to say that this Sunday they should be careful because there could be a lot of ice around.
I would very. Boo.
I stole your
Yeah,
joke.
you did. I would very nicely and forcibly ask them to leave. Even though we are a church, there are things we are still have the ability to trespass people. And that comes with legal consequences. And that would probably be the route I would take. You don't get to interrupt someone's religious freedoms for your political beliefs.
So when you say, like, if let's say it had happened. So again, little sidebar, Justin is one of the people that is kind of relegated to some of our security. He's monitoring cameras. You would have seen this coming.
I would have seen it coming. I would have stopped it immediately, or
You would have gotten up.
I would have gotten up, and I am not by any means a small person.
You could have filled the doorway.
Right. And there's an issue between your First Amendment rights and your ability to interrupt people that are just there to worship Jesus. And
Your right to swing your fist stops at the end of my nose.
right. And I think it's a very, I am a very statist constitutionalist, and there comes a point when you are interfering with other people's rights. That's when you are in the wrong. And I don't take that lightly. And I don't know, I would act calmly, but at the same time forcibly. And I'm not going to go easy. I guess that would be the way I'd put it.
What about you, Vinny?
I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
All right. You know what? I'm not going to push that. That's just an easy.
There are 20 reasons you shouldn't do that at our church.
There's an easy. We'll just leave that as an easy subliminal warning.
I've got about 60 to 100.
40.
Yeah,
But
there's a whole
On a given Sunday.
Yeah.
there's an Under Oath song that was on an EP back in the day called "I Got 10 Friends and a Crowbar That Say You Ain't Gonna Do Jack."
Yeah. Yeah, I just wouldn't do that at our church.
And so the thing that I think about is like if they were to like get into the front door and then get in through the double doors, who do they meet first? Yeah, that's right.
Hopefully Jesus.
Who do they meet first? Hopefully not Jesus. We don't shoot on sight.
We do believe in the last rites of evangelism.
But generally speaking, we have
the first person
like-
you meet in our church is Jesus.
three or four. We have 3 or 4.
You can bring up your complaints about our strategy with Jesus himself.
You told me to put on 4, and we have 3 or 4 guys who sit in the back right next to the door. Sometimes they are either outside of the doors or in the foyer. But like it would have been an
They'll pray with you.
immediate confrontation, which probably would not have gone great for anybody involved.
Definitely not for Don Lemon.
Definitely not for Don Lemon, because like how quickly, if you were to walk up, you know, say Neil's sitting in the chair, they walk through the door, they are being
And Neil's a pseudonym, by the way.
obviously
Yeah.
they're being immediately disruptive, and then like they push past Neil, pseudonym.
Oh, it's not gonna.
At
It's
that
not.
point,
It's not gonna happen.
At that point, every guy who sits in the back table is like, "Oh, Neil just got assaulted. It's a fight on sight."
Oh,
Which is not necessarily the best option, but I do think it's what would happen.
which
there
is
are-
what.
Like
There
we
are women and children. And we
right
will
at that
protect
point.
them.
So okay, no,
At
no.
that point, at what point?
Okay.
There's
Pause because Vinny just touched on something because I saw a post. I tried to find it where some guy was like, "Hey, if your church right now is immediately reverting to like strategies of dealing with protesters entering your church versus like loving people like Jesus, you have a church problem." And I'm like, dude, that is the most naive asinine thing I've ever heard. Because here's the deal. We live in an age of church shootings, of violence, of persecution. Like, I don't know okay, they just want to come in and peacefully protest. I don't know that. No one at the front doors know that. You didn't like, for example, most protests in America, you actually have to submit an application to go protest, to do your march. And because there is freedom of speech, we want to protect your ability to protest. You're given a certificate, not a certificate, but you're given a license or permission, a permit, and able to go do that. If you show up at a church, and you're doing it in such a way that the people in the church have no idea why you're there or what you're doing. As shepherds, one of the number one jobs of a shepherd is to, yes, we're to feed the sheep, but if the sheep are dead, I can't feed them. The first job of a shepherd is to protect the sheep
from wolves.
And so, I don't know, we live in a crazy world. I don't know if you come storm. I don't know what your intentions are or aren't. I don't know if you're armed or you aren't. You've decided to enter into a place of worship, and if you're using profanity and you're hurling insult
and screaming,
that is exhibiting volatile behavior, which will be met, I think, justifiably so, with a response that we're being attacked, and thus innocents need to be protected.
From my standpoint, you will be met with violence. You will be met with violence. You will, whether that, I don't want to go too far with this, but you will be met with violence and you will not like it.
Dude, in one of the videos,
and we will tell you about Jesus because we love you.
Yeah. But it'll be
as you gurgle your way
as
out.
the ambulance
be
is on the
outside the
way.
doors.
There's in one of the videos I saw, it's of one of the protests. He's filming himself as he's walking around, and he walks up to 3 young women who look like they're between 15 and maybe 20, and just start screaming. And I'm like, how is that guy not getting absolutely curb stomped?
There were no men in the church. That's why.
My gosh.
I saw Jason Whitlock.
Hey, turn the other cheek. Also, that guy would have gotten curb stomped.
Jason Whitlock made the comment, Don Lemon would have never gone and tried that crap in a black church or a Hispanic church.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
So where I sit, and not to give away any secrets, I can see everybody, and anybody new that comes in, I am watching you. Not
like
because
the police.
not because
everywhere.
not because not because
every
it's,
move
You're going to get us copyright strike.
right.
Not with that tone.
It's my nature, and I think that's as a man, one, but as someone that's been called to be part of the church, my calling is also to defend that church, and short of the government invading and persecuting us because we are the church, you trying to exhibit your personal and political beliefs inside and towards other people is unacceptable to me. And that will be met with an equal and greater force than you thought.
Now, if somebody came into our church and in the middle of the service stood up and started protesting something, and I'm behind the pulpit, I would very calmly say, "Excuse me, we're so glad you're here, and Jesus loves you, and man, I want to hear what you're having to say, but there are a time and a place for this, and right now you're choosing the wrong time." And so if you wouldn't mind just going to the back of the sanctuary and just chilling out when I'm done, by all means, me and a few others would love to sit down and hear anything and everything you have to say. If you don't want to do that, then you will be physically removed from the building and the police called. We don't want to cause you any harm, but you're disrupting something that's happening. And you're making other people uncomfortable as a result. And neither of those things are appropriate in their time and place. We want to hear everything you have to say. We want to respect your right to say them. But there's a time and a place. The Bible says that. So you can either choose to step up and walk to the back and wait, or the men that are moving your direction right now will help you out the front door. And then they'll sit with you until the police arrive, and we'll sort it out after the service. Again, there's not a call to violence. There's not a, again, and again, within the context, again, you got to also realize that, that we're a church located in such a place that there's not like you would have to really have a negative, malcontent, such you have
to really target us to come and get us.
Right. So it's not like we're an inner city church where you kind of also just naturally dealing with homeless people or people high out of their mind that stumbled in because it's an open door that you kind of have to deal with. That's not us. And there's various other contexts that there's policies and I get that. But the reason I bring up the topic, I thought this was interesting. This was kind of a flyby.
Well, and I'm a Sunday school teacher. And my daughters work in the nursery. So my family is very much involved with the innocence of our church. So you come barging in and give those children a nightmare scenario. I'm there to protect them kids.
Right.
Those kids are not going to have a bad time at church.
Yeah.
Not while I'm there.
Yeah. No, you'll die quickly and will be removed quietly.
Yeah.
Mop bucket will follow you out the front door as if it never happened.
Very quietly.
You're right.